Inside the forest, a search party is looking for a missing couple. In an underground cave with a bell hanging from the ceiling, two search dogs reach a strange pit in search of water and start drinking from it. Moments later, their owner notices that both dogs are staring at each other in a strange way. That night, he locks the dogs in a cage, but they continue staring at each other. In the middle of the night, the owner hears strange noises and runs to the cage in panic. When he reaches there, he is shocked because his two dogs are horribly fused together, as if their bodies have merged. In the city, teacher Millie and her boyfriend, failed musician Tim, are throwing a party because they are about to move into a new house. Tim's old bandmates tell him that they have got a tour performance, and Tim agrees to rejoin the band, even though it means traveling back and forth between the city and the new house. Meanwhile, Millie's best friend asks her if she is really sure about the move, because Tim has been very distant and depressed since his career failed. But Millie believes that changing houses will improve their relationship. While saying goodbye to their friends, Millie suddenly surprises everyone by getting down on her knees in front of Tim and offering him an imaginary ring. Tim is so shocked that he cannot say anything, and the atmosphere becomes very awkward. As Millie stands up, Tim finally says yes. Later, in bed, Tim apologizes and explains that he was just frozen in shock, but Millie is still upset. She says Tim has been very distant lately and asks if he wants to break up because it's the first time he has made her feel so uncertain. Tim reassures her that he loves her and does not want to end the relationship, but when Millie tries to get close to him, Tim pushes her away. Before sleeping, Millie taunts him. "Everyone knows you need me more than I need you." She laughs and adds, "You can't hide your failures by being mad at me." Tim turns his back to her, but when he looks forward, he is shocked. He sees a crying woman and a dead man at the other end of the bed, and the whole bed starts shrinking slowly. Frightened, he hides under the blanket, but then the terrifying face of the woman appears right in front of him. At that moment, Tim screams and wakes up. It was all just a nightmare. At the new house, Tim asks Millie if she thinks he hates her, but Millie does not understand what he is saying. They start unpacking, and Tim finds his father's old tools in a box. Suddenly, he smells a terrible stench. He follows the smell and finds that it is coming from a lamp above. Tim moves the lamp and reaches inside. He finds a dead rat. He pulls it out, but several more dead rats, their tails tangled together, fall out. Tim is disgusted. When the last rat squeaks faintly, Tim panics and drops all of them, and the last rat dies too. He throws all the rats into the forest. The next day, Millie starts working at her new school and befriends a teacher named Jaime, who lives in the same area. He says that if Millie ever wants to explore places, he can be her guide. In the evening, Tim asks Millie if she can drop him at his gig, but Millie only manages to take him to the train station. At night, when she tries to be romantic again, Tim refuses her again. The next morning, they go hiking together. While walking, the path suddenly ends, and Tim notices another path with bells hanging above. He thinks this might be a safe way. After wandering in the forest for a while, it starts raining, so they run back home, but realize they are lost. Tim tries to use his phone as a compass, but he cannot figure out the direction home. While moving forward, Tim slips and falls into a deep pit, but grabs a rock at the last moment. Millie tries to pull him up, but because of her weight, both of them fall into the cave below. Tim's phone breaks, and Millie's phone has no signal. They realize that it feels like someone else is in the cave with them. Tim lights a lighter and sees some old furniture lying around. He tries to break the wood and start a fire, but it doesn't light. They have very little water left, so Tim gives the water to Millie and drinks from a small pit on the ground himself. After a while, they manage to light a small fire, and Tim opens the bottle of alcohol he brought. They both admit that they have started smoking again and share a cigarette to relieve stress. Millie asks how he noticed the smell of the rats, so Tim starts talking about his childhood memories. He says that his father always said a bad smell was coming from his room, but no matter how much they cleaned, they never found the reason. One day, after coming back from school, Tim saw his father holding a dead rat, which had made a nest on the lamp. Every time Tim turned on the light, his father would slowly catch the rat, and the smell changed so gradually that he didn't realize it was the smell of death. Tim's eyes fill with tears as he says that the same smell was present when his father's body was found, and his mother was sitting on the bed with a terrifying smile because her mind had broken. She had become addicted to the same smell, just like Tim had become addicted to the rats. In the middle of the night, Tim wakes up to strange sounds. He feels like some animal is nearby. He takes deep breaths and notices that the sounds are coming from the walls of the cave, which are shaking with his breathing. Tim feels like the cave is shrinking around him. Then Millie starts breathing heavily, and suddenly some hands grab her face. Tim wakes up in fear. He was having another nightmare. Millie's phone is damaged due to water during the night. When they wake up, they feel something strange on their feet. They lift the blanket and are shocked. Their feet are stuck together by a sticky substance. They struggle hard to separate their feet, which is extremely painful. With the help of the morning light, they manage to get out of the cave, but their feet remain deeply injured. At home, Millie asks Tim for a massage. He hesitates a little, but then puts his hands on her back. As he massages, he feels a strange connection, and his fingers dig deep into her skin. Millie screams in pain and pushes him away. She notices that Tim's face looks sick and tired, but Tim just says, "I'm fine, just a little tired." After that, Millie leaves the house to go downtown, and Tim goes to take a shower. But suddenly he feels like he is losing control of his own body. With every move Millie makes in the car, Tim's body moves in the same direction, causing him to repeatedly crash into walls and the shower door. When Millie moves a few miles ahead, Tim's body keeps pressing against the walls, causing the tiles to crack. At that moment, Tim stumbles in shock and falls backward, injuring his forehead. Later, Tim goes to the doctor, who immediately comments on his mother's mental history. Tim insists that he is not like his mother, and the doctor gives him a muscle relaxant. This medicine relaxes the body even if the mind is in panic, which should stop the feedback loop. The doctor also tells him that Tim and Millie are lucky because the previous couple who lived in this house disappeared. Back at home, Tim searches the internet to find out who that missing couple was. It seems they went hiking and never returned. The search party is no longer active. Tim keeps checking the couple's social media accounts and tells Millie to delete his account after his death. At the same time, Jaime comes to meet Millie and ends up staying for dinner. Tim asks him about the bells in the forest. Jaime explains that there used to be a New Age church there, which collapsed many years ago. Millie and Tim start joking, but it quickly turns into a serious teasing. During a strange pause, Jaime says that they complete each other. When the guests leave, Tim tells Millie that Jaime likes her. Suddenly, Tim kisses Millie passionately and loses himself. As hands move around, Millie tries to struggle but realizes that their lips are stuck together. She barely separates her face, which is very painful, and feels like Tim has bitten her. Tim denies it and explains that ever since they came to this house, something strange has been happening. Millie thinks it is just an excuse. Later, in bed, Millie wakes up to a strange sound. She thinks her hair is stuck and that Tim is sleeping above her. But when she turns on the light, she sees a terrifying sight. Her hair is going into Tim's mouth and wrapping around his neck. Millie painfully pulls the hair and helps Tim wake up. After much effort, they manage to tear the hair out and it falls on the mattress. The next morning, Tim finds hair in his mouth again. He has a gig today, and Millie thinks he is not mentally okay, so he should not go. Tim goes by force and refuses to talk about it. Millie drops him at the train station, wishing him good luck and supporting his career. She tells him to spend the night with friends to take a break from the new house. While waiting for the train, Tim has a panic attack. As Millie drives, his condition worsens. Tim takes his medicine, but it has no effect, and when the train arrives, his body does not move. He leaves his instruments and walks toward the town, feeling like his skin is burning. At school, Millie sees a student's drawing of her dogs, showing that they are fused at the face. After class, she finds Tim in a sick condition in the backyard. She hides him in the nearest bathroom, where Tim tells her how much he missed her and kisses her. The couple goes to a stall and becomes intimate for the first time in a long while. But after finishing, they find their thighs are stuck together and it hurts a lot to pull them apart. Suddenly, a child appears outside the stall. The couple has to stay quiet until the child leaves. Then, Millie covers Tim's mouth and pushes him while apologizing, finally separating them, but it is very painful. At that moment, Jaime knocks on the stall. Tim hides above the toilet, and Millie presses a button to come out. It turns out the child brought Jaime after hearing a strange noise. Jaime reminds them to use the staff bathroom, and seeing blood on Millie's leg, thinks she has started her period. Back at home, Millie yells at Tim for what he did, but Tim says he did not force anything. Millie angrily claims that Tim is ruining everything for her. Tim reminds her that he left his life behind and shifted here for her work. Millie says he had no life in the city, and if he feels so trapped, he should leave. Tim explains that he cannot go because his mind and body are not working properly. Millie says she feels like his mother because she is living with something dead. A few minutes later, Millie goes to Jaime's house and apologizes, with tears in her eyes. Jaime invites her inside. They talk about their relationship. Jaime shares a story he taught in class, that humans were originally born with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a head with 2 faces. But Zeus thought humans were too powerful, so he split them into 2 parts. Since then, humans have wasted their lives searching for their other half. Jaime also shares that she had a previous husband who left her, and she regrets it deeply. At that moment, Millie sees Tim outside the window and decides to leave the house. Tim chases her, grabs her hand, and apologizes. At night, Tim sees worried messages from his band, but he doesn't have the courage to reply. Then he notices the last hiking photo of the missing couple and finds the location. When he plots it on the map, he realizes they disappeared in a mysterious cave. Tim moves closer to examine the photo, but the internet suddenly goes out. Suddenly, something hits a door, and Tim falls off the couch in fear. He is stunned when he sees Millie's body sliding against the glass, her face covered in blood. Millie's body keeps pressing against the door, as if desperately trying to come inside. She floats downward, and Tim is about to be pulled in the same way, but he focuses and manages to open the door. Millie collapses on him unconscious, and Tim has to slap her to wake her up. Millie remembers nothing, so they go to the kitchen to discuss what happened. She thinks maybe Caesar came or she was sleepwalking, but Tim insists something strange is happening. He believes the cave's influence affected him and is now affecting Millie too. He fears they might disappear like the previous homeowners. Tim wants to test by holding hands, but Millie stops at the door. Tim explains he did it because his body doesn't want Millie to leave. He tells her there is tension and thirst in their bones, and something inside has imprinted on each other. Tim wants to go to the cave to find answers, but Millie reminds him her parents are coming for the weekend, so she leaves. Meanwhile, her blood on the table begins to seep into the wood. Later, they sleep in separate beds. In the middle of the night, Tim wakes up as an invisible force drags his body across the floor. He tries to resist but fails and grabs the wall to stop himself. Another door shakes and opens for Millie, whose body twists backward and falls. Her body contorts in terrifying ways and is pulled toward Tim. Their hands finally meet, and the couple screams in pain as their skin tears and their arms begin to fuse. The sound of bones breaking echoes in the hallway. Tim remembers his medicine and tells Millie to reach for the drawer while their arms push into each other. The drawer falls near their heads, hurting Millie. They open the medicine bottle with their free hands and immediately take several pills. Tim thinks if they snort it, it will act faster, so they crush the pills and inhale through the nose. Then they place their legs together and push with all their strength, which increases the pain but starts separating their arms. Unfortunately, they lose consciousness before completing the process. The next morning, Tim wakes up to find Millie taping him to a chair. Their arms are still fused, but it seems the medicine has stopped the process. They drink a lot of whiskey, then Millie turns on the buzzsaw. It starts moving uncontrollably but quickly becomes safe. After some hesitation, she begins cutting. The pain is unbearable and they scream throughout, but at least they manage to separate. Afterward, the couple has a snack and tries to calm down. Realizing most of the medicine is gone, they decide to go to the hospital. But Millie remembers she left the car key with Jaime, so she goes back to retrieve it. At Jaime's house, she doesn't notice that the doorbell has the same symbol as the one in the forest. Jaime doesn't answer, so Millie breaks the door open. She gets distracted by a sound from an old TV and sees that Jaime has married in the submerged church. Behind the priest, a terrifying painting shows two people fusing together. It turns out the New Age church was a cult, as the video shows the priest and guests intentionally trapping Jaime and his husband in the cave. Suddenly, Millie sees Jaime from behind, dressed in cult robes. It turns out he is the fused version of the couple in the video, but no couple reached complete fusion. Jaime thinks Millie and Tim should do it too, because it represents ultimate intimacy. He touches Millie's hand and cuts her skin with his ring, so Millie punches him and escapes the room. The punch splits Jaime's face into the two original people, but he continues to teach the benefits of fusion. Millie ignores him and gets away. Meanwhile, Tim returns to the cave with a flashlight and rope. He walks carefully on the sticky substance. On the cave walls, he is shocked to see the church's horrifying painting. Suddenly, a hand grabs his leg and he falls. His jacket gets stuck on the sticky ground and Tim sees a terrifying creature emerging from the wall. It is two people horribly fused, meaning the couple did not complete the ritual properly. As the creature approaches, Tim tears his jacket and shines the flashlight to keep it away. The biological creature seems to be asking for help, but Tim's eyes are only on the knife around its neck. He removes the knife and cuts the creature's fingers, creating a path, and escapes. Millie and Tim return home together and try to keep distance from each other, but the invisible force immediately starts pulling them and twisting their bodies if necessary. They try to stop it by grabbing objects, but Tim suddenly says he knows how to stop it and lets go. He moves toward Millie, and when she also lets go, Tim kneels and proposes with the invisible ring. They share their love. Then Tim takes a knife and says he will commit suicide to stop the process. Millie says, "Wait!" But her blood falls on the ground, forming a line and climbing onto Tim's body. She falls into his arms and says a final farewell as the blood reaches Tim's face. He holds her body and cries over her death. A few minutes later, Millie wakes up in shock at home. She looks down and sees that Tim fused their arms to keep her alive. Tim plays her favorite music, and the couple starts dancing after taking off their clothes. As they kiss, their bodies slowly and painfully fuse together, but it is successful. The internet comes back, showing Tim's last uploaded photo, their picture in the new house. On the weekend, Millie's parents arrive and ring the new doorbell. The door opens, and in front of them is Millie and Tim in their perfectly fused form. So friends, I hope you liked this video. If you liked the video, then like, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Till then, bye.